Write it anyway. There was a time where I was seeing the world in a way I didn't like. Not dramatically, just everything felt a little broken, a little heavier than it should have been. And out of that, I had this story idea, not something I ever finished, not something anyone ever read it. Just an idea I couldn't put down. The problem was the idea wasn't gentle. It came from a genuinely dark place and it stayed dark. It wasn't the kind of a thing that makes people nod along. It was a kind of thing that could actually upset someone. I kept stalling on it, not because I didn't know how to write it, but because I was scared of it, what it meant that I wanted to write it. What if people read it and decided something was terribly wrong with me for even thinking this way? What if it just alienated everyone instead of meaning something to anyone? So I sat with it unfinished for a quite long time, not writing it, not letting it go either. Does a name psychologists give to this specific kind of stall? Not writer's block in the ordinary sense, but the freeze that happens when the fear isn't. Will this be good? It's will this be judged as me? Research on creative avoidance describes this exact pattern. People just don't fear that the work will fail, they fear the work will be read as a confession, that it will say more about who they are and when they are ready to have said out loud. Eventually, when I talked to my teacher, the same one who years earlier had been the person who pushed me towards this, the writing, the visual storytelling, all of it, whether it is debate, she was the starting point of the whole direction in my life. I told her what I was sitting on. I had this idea that it was heavy and a little bleak, and I was scared of how polarizing it might be if I ever put it out in the world. She didn't tell me to soften it. She said something closer to this. It doesn't matter right now whether it feels acceptable to you or how you think other people will take it. Just know if the idea keeps returning to you, that's information. Write it down. What feels wrong or too much today might be exactly what someone else needed to read 5 years from now. You don't get to know that in advance, so don't let a guess decide it for you. I didn't know at the time, but she was actually echoing something a poet had written more than 100 years earlier. In 1903, Rainer Maria Rilke was corresponding with a young, anxious cadet named Franz Capuz, who kept asking Rilke to judge whether his poems were any good. Rilke refused. Instead, in what became Letters to a Young Poet, he told Kapus to stop outsourcing the judgment and to ask himself one question instead: do I have to write? If the answer is yes, Rilke said, build your life around that necessity, regardless of what it costs or who understands it. And that idea, my friends, shows up again and again across 100 years in a different fields for a reason. The psychologist Adam Grant has written something similar. The people we later call original thinkers weren't the usually the ones with the safest ideas. They were the ones who kept an unpopular idea alive long enough for everyone else to catch up. Being early often looks exactly like being wrong, right up until it doesn't. This is why, out of every film, I keep come back to Dead Poet Society. Early on in the film, John Keating takes his students to a wall of old class photographs, boys who sat on those same desks decades earlier, just to as sure of their own future. He tells them those boys weren't so different, and then, almost under his breath, he gives them the line the film is remembered for: carpe diem, seize the day, boys. But the line actually explains why gets quoted less. Later, Keating tells them the fields like medicine, law, and engineering are necessary. They are what keeps us alive. But poetry, beauty, and love, he says, are what we stay alive for. He borrows a line from Walt Whitman about life as a play that keeps going and asks them one question: what verse are they going to contribute to it? My teacher wasn't telling me to write the safe idea. She was telling me the heavy, uncomfortable one might be the one necessary in Keating's sense, not the practical sense. Some things keep you alive. Other things are the reason you stay alive for. She thought this idea, dark as it was, might belong to the second category. I never finished the story. I never got it published anywhere. Honestly, it's still just an idea. It sits exactly where I left it. Okay, okay, but that's not really the point of telling you this. If you are someone who has an idea right now that feels too much, too dark, too honest, too likely to upset someone you care about, I'm not telling you it's guaranteed to be good or guaranteed to be right. I don't know that. Neither do you yet. What I'm telling you is the fear of upsetting someone is not a reason to stop. It's usually a sign that the idea actually means something. So if it keeps coming back to you, write it down. Don't let a guess about how it will land make the decision for you before you even made the thing. I hope you like the content. Share it with the teacher who made a difference in your life. And Mercy ma'am, if you're watching this, this one is for you. That's the end. See you in the next one. Bye bye.